I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, March the 29th, 2016. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed the Vice Premier of China to Israel today. Liu Yentong arrived in the country in order to co-chair the second annual Israel-China Committee for Cooperation and Innovation with Netanyahu, and also to sign a number of cooperation agreements with Israel, including in the areas of education, agriculture, science, and technology. At a joint press conference, the two leaders also announced the opening of free trade agreement talks between Israel and China. Netanyahu told reporters that both sides and both economies would greatly benefit from such talks. He said the cooperation between Israel and China can produce huge results, and we believe that Israel can be the perfect partner. The Chinese vice premier met earlier today in Jerusalem with Israeli President Reuven Rivlin. Also today, Israel's Rafael Systems signed a cooperation agreement with India's Reliance defense firm. The agreement was announced in Goa at the 2016 Defexpo exhibition being held there, which was attended by Israel's ambassador to India, Daniel Karmon, and Rafael Director General, Major General in Reserve Yoav Har-Even. The two defense companies will cooperate in the production, development, and supply of air defense systems, air-to-air missiles, and surveillance balloons. Israel Air Force jets were on alert earlier today with the hijacking of an Egyptian plane. An Egypt airplane traveling from Alexandria to Cairo was hijacked to Cyprus by a passenger. The Times of Israel reports that according to an IDF spokesperson, Israel had scrambled its jets when the plane was initially hijacked to make sure Israeli airspace was not breached. The jets returned to their base once the plane landed in Cyprus. After a standoff of several hours, the Egyptian man who hijacked the plane surrendered and was taken into custody. None of the passengers were harmed, and the incident is not thought to have been terror-related, but rather was motivated by a personal matter. Israel will welcome a new national library that will stand opposite from the Knesset in Jerusalem. The cornerstone laying ceremony for the new National Library of Israel building will take place on Tuesday, April the 5th. The $200 million construction is scheduled for completion towards the end of 2019, with doors opening to the public in 2020. The majority of the funding is coming from the Rothschilds family's Yad HaNadiv and the Gottesman Fund of New York, with help from the Israeli government. The current National Library is on the campus of Hebrew University Givat Ram. The new library will be separate from the university and will include a cultural center with art galleries and a 450-seat auditorium. Nominations are now being accepted by the Ruderman Family Foundation for its Best in Business supplement. The supplement is done in partnership with the Jewish Week Media Group and was first published in the spring of 2015. It recognizes businesses with a history of employing people with disabilities, providing them with training and support, and developing innovative approaches to maximizing their abilities. The Best Biz 16 campaign is now underway for 2016, with nominations being accepted through May the 25th. An online museum saluting Jews in baseball is set to launch next week in hopes of being the first step towards creating an actual Jewish baseball museum. The Jewish Baseball Museum site includes biographies of nearly all the Jews who made it to the big leagues. The site's creator, Chicagoan Jeff Ader, is waiting to see the response to the virtual museum before he moves ahead with plans for a physical museum, ideally to stand where Ader grew up on the city's north side. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight, Tuesday, March the 29th. At 7 o'clock, Times of Israel editor David Horowitz interviews Israeli opposition labor leader Isaac Herzog. And later, Democratic candidate for the presidential nomination Hillary Clinton shares her views on American foreign Middle East policy and reaffirms her commitment to the State of Israel. Then at 9 o'clock, Mark Golub sits down with Mark Langfan, who is president of Americans for a Safe Israel on L'Chaim. And at 10, Chancellor of the Jewish Theological Seminary, Arnold Eisen, discusses the pioneering work of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel and his influence on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in a talk entitled The Politics of Prophecy from Limmud, New York, 2016. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, In the News with Mark S. Golub. On tonight's show, Mark speaks with Ruth Weiss, Professor Emerita of Yiddish Literature and Comparative Literature at Harvard, who talks about anti-Semitism and the BDS movement. And that's the JBS News Update from Tuesday, March the 29th, 2016. I'm Teisha Bader.